It is not typically a normal thing for me to come on late in the evening. Today is November 10th. It is the Marine Corps' birthday, and with it being Veterans Day tomorrow, I am in my camouflage. I am Kitryn Marie, an artist, a writer, a speaker, a life and a business coach residing in St. Louis, Missouri. And I've got so much on my plate tomorrow that I thought I better come on tonight and do my video for my cap of the week. I've worked every day. Tomorrow is a day off that I have. Got to go out and go see my Ruby girl. Quite a lot of things on my mind this evening, like always. Nothing has changed in my world. My mind is constantly going, trying to regrow a business, trying to promote who I am and what I do. Like I said, with it being the Marine Corps birthday today, with it being Veterans Day tomorrow, with the time change this week. If there is somebody that you know, or somebody that is close to you, be mindful of how they might be feeling this week. Usually the 3 things in a row, or for anybody in any military, there are certain things that trigger depression this time of year, and it's not talked about enough. Mental health, mental illness, and the things that trigger things that might be harboring. At my little gig I'm working in right now, it's in the restaurant industry. And I had a very interesting customer today. And I do like to tell stories. I love to share moments. I love to share things that mean something to me because I understand. Although it might seem sometimes my sensitivity level isn't where somebody else thinks it should be, there are things that I have paid attention to probably over the last 10 years. But the story that I want to share with you, something that happened today, it was interesting, and it's playing in the back of my mind, and I wanted to share it with you tonight. And as much as I want to talk about love, and I want to talk about what, for better, for worse, looks like in your life and by today's standards of dating, because the dating pool, not that I'm interested in being in that dating pool, but from what I'm hearing from people and from what I'm seeing from people who are trying to date and trying to find somebody to spend their, the rest of their life with, I'm going to veer from that right at this moment, and hopefully I'll get back to it this weekend. But I want to tell the story today. I wait tables. It's what I've always done, or bartended. And I was trying very much always to get away from the bartending. I had had my fill with unhealthy individuals and toxic individuals and so on and so forth. But I enjoy waiting tables. It's entertaining. It's a very good way to make a living if you're in the right entity. And there's always one customer that seems to kind of touch your heart, pull on your heartstrings. And I want to kind of share what happened today. The last couple of days I've been really busy in that industry. I think with the elections the other night, people are a little bit more relieved with the possibility of hope in which way our country is going. I reside in St. Louis, Missouri. Very much, how do I want to say it? I'm very much concerned about a direction in which our country is going. And I think we have a lot of people to thank for our freedom that we take so much for granted. So where am I going with all of this? Today, one of my customers, it was an elderly gentleman. He came in, wanted lunch, very disheveled. And sometimes I'm not quick to judge, because I often think maybe it's God sending a messenger. Maybe it's the higher power putting something in front of me or in front of any of you, that there are lessons that need to be learned or something that needs to be paid attention to, that too many people miss the key things in this life. So the gentleman, he comes in, and I'm like, you can sit wherever you want. And I could tell he was a little distorted, out of his element. And my usual entertaining self, hi, how are you? You know, what can I bring you to drink? And you could see in his mind he was searching. He was searching for the right answer. Like I said, he was a little disheveled, out of his element, little disoriented. And he sat down, and I said, what can I bring you to drink? And he's searching in his mind. You could see he's thinking. And he says, I'd like a Coke. Can I have a Coke? And I'm like, absolutely, you can have a Coke. And I went to go turn away from him. And before I could even go get his drink, he says, I want a burger. I think I want a burger. And I said, okay, that's fine. You can have a burger. And he said, I want American cheese on it. I said, well, you can have American cheese. I think that's a great choice. And he said, can I have a pickle and a tomato? I said, absolutely, you can have a pickle and a tomato. And he goes to give me his credit card. He said, here, I want to pay for it now. And I'm like, no, you don't have to pay for it now. Just kind of wait. Wait till I bring you your food. And like I said, I could tell he was like a little confused. But it was no big deal. You know, I enjoy waiting on elderly people. I think this is my stairway into heaven. I think, you know, someday I'm going to be really old. I hope to God I live to be really old, and I worry about what my karma is going to be. And I enjoy the elderly because they have stories. There's always a lesson and a story with whomever you meet that is 10 to 20 years older than yourself. So anyway, I'm kind of like out of the corner of my eye watching this gentleman who's by himself, little disheveled, little disoriented, and I see him get out his phone and he's trying to text. So I go back over to him because I'm a little concerned and I want to make sure that he's okay. And he looks up to me and he says, where am I? And I said, what do you mean, where are you? I said, you're in the restaurant. And he said, well, which restaurant is this? He says, have I been here before? And I said, well, I don't know if you've been here before. I said, I've only been here a couple months. I said, and I've never seen you before. So I proceed to tell him the restaurant. And he says, oh, I think I have been here before. And I'm thinking to myself, how did he get here? Now I notice on his hat and on his shirt, he's wearing a military insignia. And although I had other customers and I was doing other things, I really didn't pay attention to which branch it was. And he says to me, I'm 85 years old. God willing, I'm 85 years old. And I said, well, God love you. I said, that's wonderful. I said, and here you are in my restaurant right now in front of me, and you're going to eat a burger. And I just made small talk, you know, because I wanted to make sure that he was okay. And he kept trying to give me his credit card so he could pay for his food. And I said, no, honey, you're okay. Just wait. So anyway, I go off and I go get his food and I bring it back to him, and he hands me his credit card again. And he says, here, pay for my meal and make sure that you put $3 on it for your tip. And I was like, okay, all right. So I go to do that, and he says, I'm walking away. He goes, I want to make sure I don't forget. I said, you're not going to forget. You're fine. So anyway, I get his card and I run it, and, you know, I have his receipt and everything, and I bring it back to him, and he's studying it. You know, and the elderly, they watch their pennies, and I wanted him to make sure that he was being charged what he was supposed to be, you know, charged and everything. And he says, now you got your $3. And I said, yes, sir, I did. It's all good. And he says, can I have a box? And I said, well, looks like you're going to have a lot of leftovers for dinner tonight. And he just kind of smiled and laughed. And he said, I don't mean to be a pain. And I said, well, you're no pain. I said, I can get you a to-go box. So he proceeds to put his food. I'm going to unplug my phone here because it's telling me weird things. This phone's acting up. Okay. He says, I'm going to take this home with me and I'll have it later. And I said, that's fine. I said, that's really good. So I go to turn my back to go do something, and I turned back around and he was gone. He just, like he was there. We had a conversation. He told me he was 85. I knew he was in some branch of the military. And I thought, is he alone? Does he not have anybody in his life? And it made me really stop and think about what today was, what tomorrow is, and those that have served in this country that have been forgotten. There was somebody one time very dear to my heart, and I very concerned about his well-being, making sure that wherever he is in this life, that he knows that he is appreciated for the efforts that he has put into this life, to the service that he provided while he was in the military. And even my dad, who, God rest his soul, who's been gone a long time, he served in the Army. He was a cook, served at the end of the Korean War. So if you know somebody that has been in a branch of service, if you know that there's an elderly person out there who is alone, if you know of somebody right now who might be going through some really hard times, the weather change, Veterans Day, the way that our world is, the way the economy is, the way that life seems to be happening for us. And I always say that life happens for us. Life doesn't happen to us. Appreciate and thank those that really are having a difficult time right now. And if you can, ask questions. What can I do for you to make your life better? What can I do that can bring awareness to a situation that that person may not be able to talk about? They're harboring things because we don't know what they go through. We don't know what's in their mind. We only know from what we have experienced with them being in our inner circle. My dad didn't suffer from any post-traumatic stress disorder. His time in the military, I think, was a big playground for him. But we don't know what goes on. We don't know the deprivation. We don't know the institutionals that have been programmed in their mind. And while we have so many veterans that are homeless, or so many veterans that are waiting in line to get into the VA, and with the VA or any government medical facilities, you're a number. You're not a person. You're not a human. So I wanted to come on tonight, and I'm really veering from what my normal conversation is, but as a life coach and as a person who really takes an interest in the cognitive thinking and the behavioral actions of the way that we live our life and the way that we intertwine with other people, with the way that we feed off of each other. And when you're involved with somebody, or somebody in your circle is suffering from some form of depression or some form of mental illness or some form of an addictive behavior, they're maladaptive behaviors that people take on so they can cope. And a lot of times we don't know what those people are trying to cope from because they don't speak, they don't open up. They don't understand what they're imposing onto the people that are trying to love them. If a person is not willing to open up and express the things that they have gone through, you can only second guess, and you can only love from a distance till you're pushed away and you can't love anymore. And as a woman who has gone through an abusive situation, my own walls have been up trying to protect and trying to figure out why numbing is so important when you are healing. And if you have two people that are going through different post-traumatic stress disorders, it's almost like if you have a microphone and you're standing in front of the speaker and you hear that big squeal, that's what two mental illnesses are. It's a big squeal that nobody is listening to what the other person needs. And although through my training, being a life coach, the psychological classes I have taken, some of the therapy that I have taken, I think that gentleman today, he very much made me aware of something that I had forgotten or was on a back burner in the back part of my mind. There are so many things that we don't talk about in our life and the coping mechanisms that we develop in order to heal. So I'm hoping I will come back and I will talk more about love and for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, although it really nothing ever has to do with money when it comes to love in a relationship. But I did want to kind of come on and I did want to talk a little bit, and I did want to, anybody who's a veteran out there, happy Veterans Day. Thank you very much for our freedom. We're all praying that our country gets back to where it needs to be so we can all prosper and be happy and live the American dream. So somewhere along the line, before it's too late, we can open up to the people that really want to know who we are and why we have these quirks about ourselves. So for today, for tomorrow, be happy, be blessed, be thankful for all the wonderful things that do come into your life. Remember, fate does turn on a dime, and only you get to decide what side of that coin you want to be on. I am Kitryn Marie. I reside in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm an artist, a writer, a speaker, a life and a business coach, wishing you just the best of everything in this world that it has to offer. If you would like to learn more about me or what I do, feel free. Google Kitryn Marie. I'm the first 4 pages on Google. Always send me an email at kitrynmarie@gmail.com. I'll be back in a couple days and maybe even tomorrow with another video talking a little bit more about love and what the dating pool really is by today's society, because there's just a lot of individuals out there who still don't get what the big picture is. So y'all take care, and I will see you real soon. Bye.